Good morning, everyone. It's Anita Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, my contemplative time this morning has been all about suffering. And you think, wow, what a way to start the day. And I want you to know that I have not been suffering in that process. But suffering is something that came to mind because I was thinking about grief. And this is the work that I do most often, of course, with clients. And I was recognizing that, first of all, we all go through grief. So in grief recovery, grief can be linked with sadness, with frustration, with anger, with anxiety. All of these different emotions can be linked to the word grief in grief recovery. And I was thinking about how suffering is something that is discussed very much through a lot of scripture and certainly through philosophy, through psychology. It's an area that is discussed quite a bit because it's our direction to understand this suffering. I think Buddha had said something like he teaches suffering and how to overcome suffering. So this is what I really liked. I thought, wow, it's so interesting that that's kind of what I'm doing, right? So it's kind of exciting to see a different word and yet meaning the same thing. So I came across this quotation by Michel de Montaigne, and this quotation says, "He who fears he shall suffer already suffers what he fears. He who fears he shall suffer already suffers what he fears." So we would think, how would that happen? Because most people do this, right? So let's say someone is not enjoying their job, but they're fearing they won't find a better job. So they're already suffering from that fear, right? Someone who is even homeless, for example. So someone's in complete, not a completely uncomfortable, not comfortable space of financial distress. So they're homeless and they fear, what if they're always going to be there? Now, this brings up this idea of what if, and this lack mentality, I'll call it, is so common in our human experience, right? So many times, if someone is going through a not good experience in a relationship, and I help people with relationships a fair amount, in terms of relationships, people might think that this is not good. And what if it stays this way? And what if it gets even less good? And all of those what ifs are already the fears that the person is suffering, right? So there is the experience of right here and right now, what is happening. And then there is the experience that our mind creates of the what ifs. So oftentimes people are not remembering the what if things get better, right? So now when people move into that, they move into a hopeful space, and hope allows for a lot more healing. I came across another quotation, and this one is by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And this quotation I quite liked. It's an introspective thought, I'd say. So it says, "Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. The really great men must, I think, have great sadness on earth." And quite honestly, this is what I find in terms of grief, or if we say suffering, there is a transformative experience that happens through situations that are not so easy, so suffering or grief. This allows a window of opportunity, which is what I love helping people discover and recognize as they work through. And we're all working through these things, right? We're all working through lots of physical things, lots of mental, emotional things, lots of things that are affecting our heart and our minds, right? So this awareness that this is always inevitable for large intelligence and a deep heart, right? So you know that I speak about love quite a bit. And honestly, I do not believe that people can have the depth of love that is possible unless they go through some sort of suffering. And we're all going through suffering. Now, this is not to envy anyone that's going through suffering, of course, right? This is an awareness that if you are, and we all are at various levels, is the recognition that this is bringing up something that is going to expand my awareness and my ability to appreciate and enjoy the love and the expansion that comes from this not easy experience. And this takes a bit of mindful training, which of course I would love to help you with. So reach out to me if you have any questions. I found another quotation by Rumi, and I love Rumi, and this said, "Suffering is a gift in it is hidden mercy. Suffering is a gift. In it is hidden mercy. And I totally believe this. It's interesting that I don't think that anyone who is in the middle of an intense suffering, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, emotional, whether it's spiritual, anything that is happening to a person when they're going through suffering, they're consciously aware of it, unless there is also a conscious awareness of the gift, there isn't the hope that can be created that then allows for healing and transformation through such opportunities. I finally want to end with this quotation, and before I do, I would love to give you a 5-minute exercise for after this video. If you can sit for 5 minutes and think of an area of suffering that you were going through, anything, right? It could be work related, it could be relationship related, it could be health related, it could be life related in general. And if you can think about one area in that suffering that is actually quite good, even if it's purely just the awareness that I know I need to do something about this, and I will, right? Or I am, right? I'm in the process of doing something from a place that is not comfortable. And that's a great awareness for you to have. I also wanted to finish this video with this quotation. It's by Alexis Carrell, and it's a beautiful quotation, I believe. This quotation says, "Man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor." And this is it. We are shaping ourselves, right? So from our life experiences, it shapes us, and then we can participate in the shaping because we can direct where we are choosing to create our own creation. And I would love for you to think about that today, and certainly think about, what are you creating from your suffering experience, or what can you create from something you have gone through already? Think about it for 5 minutes and see what is the hopefulness, what is the learning that has come from that experience. I wish you a fabulous day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.